Hello, everyone. I'm Nolan Myers, CEO of Double GDP, where we're building an end-to-end platform for cities to connect with residents, accelerate growth, and deliver responsive public services. I'm here today to bring you a sprint update for the sprint ending on May 27th, 2020. And as always, we'll go through the goals for this sprint, what we accomplished against those goals, and what we aim to accomplish in the next sprint. So let me dive right in. Our goals for this sprint, high level, we wanted to hit weekly active users of 216. And then we had five product areas that we wanted to address. One, we wanted to incorporate plot data of residents. We wanted to build a referral flow, improve the timesheets and request forms, improve the analytics in the application, and improve the DevOps of how we create the products. So at a high level, weekly active users did very well. Last 2 weeks, we hit 212 and then 262 weekly active users. So that was all on track. In terms of plots, referrals, timesheets, we also made pretty good progress against that. Did not accomplish everything that we had aimed to in this sprint, but that's because some other really important things came up. But what we did do is we added a My Accounts page for clients where they could go in and see their plot data right over here. What that means in terms of plot data is that when a client owns a certain set of plots at Nkwashi, they can now go in and do that. The cool thing about this feature was that it actually required a lot on the back end. Just exposing this on the front end is the tip of the iceberg in terms of what it required to do. But it really meant that we had to reconcile different accounts between our systems and another system in order to get there. And there's still some work in progress. This data is not complete at this point, but we are confident that the data we have is accurate. But we'll follow up a little bit more on that later. We added a referral flow that looks like here in the center at the bottom of the screen. And that referral flow now allows a client to invite a friend to join Nkwashi. A couple of nice little tidbits on top of that we had not set out as a goal, but we did accomplish. We now have a way of adding the app to the home screen. We did this through a progressive web app so that clients who want to remember that app or have easy access to it can add it to their Android home screens and have easy access. And we made a lot of improvements on search, including adding some filtering. So Olivier in his video will show you some of the improvements there, but search is just blazingly fast and actually a lot more powerful. You can search by a lot of parameters that were not possible before. And one other nice little tidbit, we added a calendar picker in on the expiration date. I think it's just a nice little fun touch for users so they don't have to type the dates. On the one area that we did not accomplish everything that we had set out to do was on the DevOps, and Nicholas will take you through that a little bit more. But we did make a few improvements, especially in the level of test automation. But the exciting thing that happened is that we actually got a lot of engagement from the marketing and client and sales teams at Nkwashi. And so we decided to work a lot on outbound content. So let's look at some of the content we produced in this last sprint. All of this is around the theme of how do we inspire people to want to invest in buying a plot or invest in actually starting to build or move into their plots. So we did a couple of interviews, one with a client who is starting to build right now. And this is really a fun interview. I encourage everybody to go watch it. It's just exciting to see the thrill of being a homeowner. And then she takes us through a lot of what she's learning in terms of how to build the home and the joy of figuring out where the walls are going to go. Just really interesting and hopefully inspirational to others who are thinking about getting started on building their plots, but are not yet confident in that process. We also did an interview with the main contractor at Nkwashi and learned a little bit about his process there. I would say this also exposed us to some of the learnings on in terms of aligning with Nkwashi and making sure that we understand their brand standards. So this content originally had a YouTube video, but that didn't meet the standards that they had for their content. So we had to adjust there a little bit. And then some of the others, once we learned some of those brand standards, we've polished up the content a little bit more, and we have a couple of promotions that their team has worked with us to create and to distribute. So a lot of new content went out, and this drove the improvement in the analytics that we're thinking about as well. One of the things we want to be able to do is see how well that content is performing. And so we look at those interviews there, and we can see that we got a lot of good engagement just in the last week around the interviews with Ms. Wape, and seeing what she has done. All of this is actually just in the last couple of days. And then people are really engaging with the interviews and spending a good amount of time on those pages, and just absorbing that content. So that was exciting. We also improved a little bit in terms of how we're able to, on the back end, capture that analytics and be able to see the yield of those campaigns that we're doing. So that's it on the product side. On the partnership side, Jay will take you through a little bit more, but one of the most exciting things there was being able to connect the dots between two different communities that we're talking with, one in Tempe, Arizona, and one in Lusaka, Zambia. And just seeing some of the ways that these new cities, of course, they're very different in terms of how they present to the world, but the things that they're thinking about, what's on their minds, and the ways that they need to reach out to prospects and clients, and even the idea of using content marketing to help inspire people who have already invested in the property, but help inspire them to actually move in or start building on their house. And that was just it was an exciting moment, just seeing it's sort of a small world moment that these two communities that that seem so different on the outside actually have some of the same things that they're grappling with. So that's it for this sprint. What we're thinking about next sprint, a high level goal is to grow the weekly active users up to 262. That's the same that we actually hit in the last week of this sprint. So it seems achievable, but of course, every week, every sprint, or every week, that number resets to 0 and starts from scratch. And then 3 themes that we want to think about. We have learned so much in terms of the content marketing and what it takes to actually produce, align the content, and deliver it and get the analytics. So we need to, what we want to do in this next sprint is automate some of those tasks so that we can do it with less effort. There really was a lot of effort, manual effort on behalf of many people on our team this week to get that content out and to get it out in a timely way. So we have kind of an algorithm now that we have in mind, but we need to formalize it and get it automated. And after we do that, we want to bring in a lot more data. This also includes doing some data cleanup on our side, thinking about some of just doing a security audit and making sure that that we're ready to take on a whole next set of client information from our customer. And then third, bring in a sales flow. So once we start bringing in all these leads, we would like to look for ways to help keep track of the to-dos that the sales team has, how you're reaching out to clients, when you're connecting, bringing all of that into a flow that really makes it a seamless process for the prospects, for the people who are considering buying a home, and also makes it well coordinated on the administrative side for Nkwashi to make that pretty efficient. So that's it for this sprint. I'm excited to share, and I'm glad that you guys are watching. Look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much.